Hello everybody, this is Troa00S and welcome to the show. For today I'm just going to do some pondering thoughts and some material that I couldn't make into full-length episodes. So I'm going to call today's episodes Pondering Thoughts. So let's start off with one I have been pondering for quite a few years now. I've even used it as a joke with some of my friends. The first thought I had was wondering if Nintendo used Pong either as a conscious decision or not as the basis for the Mario Brothers theme song. The way this thought starts off is that a young Shigeru Miyamoto has been working on the idea of the very first Mario Brothers game. As he was working on the game, he wanted to make sure that it had a very memorable soundtrack, but he knew the NES had a limited sound palette to draw from. So after hearing many different versions of some sound bites put together and none of them sounded right to him, he decided to take a break and to look somewhere else for a good idea. So while taking a break, he decided to play a video game to maybe help clear his mind. He decided on playing a fun but very simplistic game called Pong. After playing a few levels, he came to a revelation and ran out of the room to the lead music designer's room. After rushing in and getting the designer's attention, he had him follow him back to the room where he was playing Pong. Picked up the controller and went back to the game and asked the lead designer to listen to this. As they both listened, they heard the ball bounce off of the two paddles. Then Shigeru turned to the lead music designer and asked him, "Do you hear that sound, and could we replicate it on the NES?" The lead designer thought about it, said yes to both of those questions. When he heard the answers were yes, he got even more excited and decided to ask him two more questions. He asked if he could both speed up and slow down the sounds from time to time. The lead designer thought about it and said yes, he could do that. Seeing the excited look on Shigeru Miyamoto's face, he asked him if he had an idea for the game. Shigeru said yes, and then said, "Okay, follow me on this one, please." He then raised both his hands to about chest height, about 2 feet apart from each other. He looked the lead designer right in the eye and told him to imagine that his hands were two paddles, and that as he raised and lowered each hand, that would symbolize the ball hitting the paddle. So with this, he wanted the sounds to be beeps and boops. He then started raising and lowering each hand in corresponding sounds to each one. It started out like this: doop, doop, doop. After hearing that, he thought it was a great idea and got to work on it right away. And so that's how the Mario Brothers theme song was born. I was recently watching a show talking about the uncanny valley in video games. Then it came to me like a lightning bolt straight out of the sky. Dancing is the uncanny valley of movement and motion. Think about it. The uncanny valley is when things are close enough to resemble real movement, but just strange enough that we somehow just know that it is fundamentally wrong, but can still sometimes be enjoyable to watch for us. I would argue that we popularized the movements that more closely resemble real motions and movements that we see in everyday life, and downplay the motions that are more foreign to us. What is King Hippo a king of exactly? Who the hell put him in a seat of power? Speaking of which, what makes Slowbro become royalty, and who would acknowledge him as such? What? Just because some watery tart tosses something at you does not make you a king. That is no basis for a government. Give me a like if you got that reference. If locusts are controlled by a human queen, then what was going on before she showed up? Here's one for you. How are humans fighting the machines in the Terminator universe if Skynet used all the world's nukes to kill the majority of humanity the first time? Would they not be able to fight because of all the radiation everywhere? Well, that was refreshing. I'm glad to finally get some of that stuff out there. Don't worry, I'm still working on a Pondering Theories episode about Mortal Kombat vs. DC Universe. I just haven't had the time recently to work on that episode. My next episodes will be about how Doctor Who does survival horror right, and how Samurai Jack does show don't tell awesomely. If you like what you saw, please remember to like, favorite, and subscribe, and don't forget to share this video with your friends and family. If you have any suggestions for the show, please leave them in the comments box below, and I will see you all next time. Dragon, 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 car.